fight IQ?
I don't think there's nobody in the game that has the fight IQ that I have.
Off the charts.
His fucking IQ.
The highest fight IQ maybe ever.
This guy hits hard. He's tough. He's this, he's that. And this guy has a dream. But my fight IQ will win this fight.
Welcome to the Fight IQ podcast, and we are here with a little bit of breaking news. There's been a handful of fights that have been announced recently, and we're going to break down some of those. The first one up is Gabriel Bonfim versus Khaos Williams. Why don't you run us through that?
All right, so we have a match at 170 between Gabriel Bonfim versus Khaos Williams. I think this is going to be a sick one. Both of these guys are known for being pretty exciting. This is the more successful of the two Bonfim brothers. Khaos Williams has some solid wins and a lot of experience at the 170 weight class. Very hard-hitting, very stocky person. So I feel like Bonfim's going to have some trouble with this because a lot of his success comes from grappling. And Khaos Williams is a good counter-grappler because he has very heavy hands, decent takedown defense, and he's just a very stocky dude. Like, you can tell that whenever people go up against him, he hits really hard, and he's really hard to move around. So I feel like Bonfim's going to have trouble with this one.
Yeah, I was looking into this one a little bit. I didn't know a ton about Bonfim. Obviously, I knew Khaos Williams, and Bonfim was actually doing really well up until he came to the UFC and even into it. But he had a title right in LFA before he went on the Contender Series. Then he won on the Contender Series via Von Flue choke, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Early in his UFC career, he submitted Trevin Giles, which I think personally felt like maybe the closest comparison to a Khaos Williams, where it's a guy that's got that threat of heavy hands. And he was able to get the submission on that one. So he's seen that success with those power punchers before. That being said, Khaos Williams, man, I was looking back. He has a bunch of first-round finishes. Mm-hmm. My favorite of which is he finished Alex Morono in 27 seconds. We'd love to see that. Yep. His next fight out, he actually finished Al Hassan in 30. Mm-hmm. So, like, back-to-back 30-second knockouts. Recently coming off another round one knockout. It was a performance of the night. I think Khaos Williams gets it done this time. Bonfim, I think, is going to have a little trouble finding that range and finding those safe entry points to kind of get it to the ground where it's going to be his game.
Yeah, and another thing, too, is Khaos Williams, like, even once you get in, the threat of his big hooks are something that you always got to be mindful of, because that's how people were getting KO'd so quickly. They would go into exchange with Khaos, and he would just over the top, over a jab or something like that. He would throw one of these arcing punches that would, be very, very damaging. So, all right, let's move on to the next matchup, which is going to be Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. A really exciting fight at 205. What do you got for this one, brother?
I was looking into this one. I think I've got to go with Nikita for this. He's got some really big wins. He went on kind of a streak. He won to Span. He beat Ozdemir. He beat Alexander Gustafsson. Looking over Dominic Reyes, there's actually some overlap. Dominic Reyes, unfortunately, lost to Ryan Spann. He had a streak after his John Jones fight where he lost to Jan, he lost to Jiri, he lost to Spann. His most recent win that I thought would be anything is his win over Anthony Smith, and really that was Anthony Smith's implementation of the Lionheart guard. Yep. Dominic Reyes is at this point where I think we're kind of maybe seeing the end of his career. I don't know that Reyes has a ton left.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that Reyes is coming up against like some real rough matchmaking right now, because I feel like Dominic Reyes is actually on the up and up, because he had a really bad streak of really terrible KO losses for a minute there.
Yeah, and, back to back.
Yeah, and he was doing good in some of them. Like he did pretty good against Yuri, and then he got decimated. Really bad KO there. He got KO'd pretty quickly against Ryan Spann, which wasn't the best. That was supposed to be a layup fight for him. But I feel like Nikita Krylov is just one of these people that, because I think he was actually fighting in the war of Ukraine, he just hasn't been able to compete a lot, but he's been so successful, has a lot of great wins. He's on a streak. So I feel like Krylov is actually like a very, very tough matchup for a lot of people in the top five. So it's unfortunate but I think that Reyes is not going to be able to make it through this one. And I feel like Reyes has the ability to get together more wins. It's just this matchup in particular is not looking too good for him.
It's getting tough for Reyes where, he is good. Clearly we've seen him at the top of the division, but Yeah, he's starting to become the guy where they're starting to give him matchups to make other people's names off of him. Because we know Dominic Reyes, he's oh man, he had a fight against John Jones, arguably one of the closest fights against John Jones. But ever since then, they're kind of giving him as the layup to some of these up-and-comers, and I think, unfortunately, Krylov is going to be able to take advantage of that opportunity here.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun fight regardless, and it's a great fight to add on to that UFC 314 card. There's rumors of Ilya Topuria versus Alexander Volkanovski too happening as the main event of that one. So I'm stoked to see this one play out, but we'll move on to the next one, which would be Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze, the second fight of their careers.
Yes, this is an interesting one because Marvin Vettori didn't think it was going to be a rematch, as apparently he thought he was going to be fighting Roman Kopylov. Hopefully his team's a little bit more on the ball than he is about it and knew that it was Roman Dolidze and started planning for that, not to fight Kopylov, because that is a very different situation. Vettori's one of those guys where he's been on the back end of a lot of kind of shit fights.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah, man.
I feel like Vettori is just not the smartest person in the world. There's obviously that iconic photo of Vettori wearing his shorts backwards, and
I love it.
For all of his pictures in the UFC. And then he didn't even know that he was fighting this Roman. He thought he was fighting Roman Kopylov. And it's going to be a rematch, but I feel like just where they've been at in their careers, Vettori coming off a big layoff, and Roman Dolidze coming off being pretty active, moving up a weight class, coming off a win over Kevin Holland. I feel like all of these things are really going to help Dolidze carry that momentum into a win over Vettori. And but that being said, Vettori is known to have like these flash in the pan, exciting fights, like the fight with Paulo Costa. Amazing fight. Yeah. So we'll see.
His best fight.
We'll see. He really got outclassed by Robert Whittaker, and I feel like that really messed with him a little bit because when you believe you're the best and you believe nobody can beat you and you just get shut out like that and have no success, have no idea what to do, I feel like he really just had to go back to the drawing board and take some time off to upgrade his skill set. So we'll see what he brings to the table now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Roman gets this one done. It'd be nice to see him kind of avenge that loss in their first fight. And I do think Dolidze is kind of the more on the rise fighter here. I think Marvin Vettori even made a joking tweet about it, like who's looking for a fight against a vet on his way out or something like that. Mm-hmm. So I think even Vettori is kind of feeling like he's lost that steam that he once had, fought Adesanya twice, once earlier in their careers and once when Adesanya was champ. So, I think Marvin Vettori is probably going to be in the GFL soon enough.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll find some success over there because there's a lot of fun fights that they could set up for him over there.
Dude, I could see Marvin Vettori ending up in fucking Bare Knuckle FC, dude. That'd be sick. Get him in BKFC real quick,
I mean, dude, he doesn't have the brain cells to risk, luckily. So, the potential is certainly there.
He has a chin of granite, because when he fought Cannonier, he was taking Cannonier's best shot flush, not moving an inch. Because usually when people are taking really big shots like that, they're moving with the punches, Yeah. Vettori wasn't moving. He was just standing there eating it straight to the life points, just 100% like Jared Cannonier overhand rights to the dome that would KO anything. And Vettori just walked right through it. And I was like, all right, he ate him. So the dude's an orc for sure. I think he belongs in Bare Knuckle FC right now. And we'll see if he's able to, after this long layoff, get some momentum going.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
And now for the whole reason we made this video, we got Mauricio Ruffy versus Bobby King Green. It's just King Green now for some reason. What do you think of this one, Andrew?
Dude, this is the biggest one for me. I think this is a great fight. Anytime there's a Fighting Nerds announcement, we're all hyped for it. And obviously this one is pretty much confirmed good to go. Even the Fighting Nerds posted about it. So we can say that this one's for sure happening. Man, I think Mauricio's got so much momentum right now, right? He's kind of in that rise right now, and he's continuing to see success. Obviously, his fight against Lontop was maybe not his best appearance, but he was also fighting a much bigger opponent at a heavier weight class. And some of those shots that he was landing on Lon Top in any other situation probably would have been a finish.
Yeah.
And he really got to showcase like the full abilities of his footwork and how he sets up a lot of those intercepting counters and things like that. So it was really cool to see. And I think King Green is at this point where he's not necessarily a gatekeeper, but he's a springboard. So there's a lot of guys that have beaten him that have then gone on to do really great things. If we go back far enough, Dustin Poirier, Islam, Drew Dober, Fazayev, Jalen Turner being the one out here.
I think
Paddy
Islam,
obviously on his last way out.
Islam got a title shot after a Bobby Green win.
Yeah, so there's a lot of hope for a big win if Mauricio can get this one done. And at this point, I think he does. I think he really does. And I think this is going to be a highlight performance for him for sure.
Absolutely, man. I feel like this is a good stylistic matchup for Ruffy. He's really good at using his reflexes to land these really sharp counters, either intercepting them or just countering off a missed shot. And Bobby Green is going to be an interesting matchup because he keeps his hands down low. And so those punches are going to be coming from different angles. But all that being said, I just want to see what skill set Ruffy's going to bring to the table here. It seems like all of the fighting nerds are about to start getting pushed up to the top of all of their divisions because I think John Silva with the win here will start moving up. This is something that could potentially put Ruffy in the top 15 or somewhere near the top 15 with the win. JDM said he was about to fight Prates, but he was injured and they wanted to do Prates versus Shavkat. So, Caio Borralho's up at the top of his weight class at middleweight. So I feel like
they were talking about him fighting Izzy.
Yeah, the fighting nerds are here now, and it's for good reason. They're so talented. Ruffy himself is just something special to watch. If you watch like his first fight in the UFC against Malarkey, where he was hitting like leg scissor takedowns, the counters he was hitting Malarkey with, the performance against Jan Top, because of him being such a heavy opponent, he was essentially fighting a dude 2 weight classes above him. And he was able to, land these insane shots, keep himself safe. And people are going to talk about his cardio against Yanta, but at the end of the day, when you're having to move around somebody that's so significantly heavier than you, even getting out of the clinch situations or, just keeping yourself safe, like that's exhausting. So I feel like this is going to be a real showcase fight for Ruffy.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those opportunities where, much like the Malarkey fight, it was somebody that had an athlete in like the true flow state, right? Where Ruffy was kind of able to hit whatever he wanted and was really able to kind of show the full span of what he can do. And obviously he fights with his hands down a lot as well, right? He's got that kind of goblin style, that wider stance, hands down. So seeing how that plays, and maybe an advantage for either of them, right? If they're both coming at each other with hands down, maybe it's going to be who's a little faster then.
Yeah, it's going to be a
And I don't know that, when we're dealing with drag races here, I think Ruffy's going to have the advantage. He's much more athletic and like that kind of springy, quick tension type movements. And that's going to be the big difference here when it comes to that hands down versus hands down kind of quick draw.
Yeah, one thing Bobby Green likes to do is he'll, walk down and stay in punching range with his hands down like that. But Ruffy always likes to attack from having an advantageous position before he starts throwing his strikes. So I feel like it's just going to be one of those things where as long as Ruffy doesn't get pieced up and he make the wrong reads head movement wise against King Green, he'll be pretty safe because Bobby Green doesn't throw a lot of kicks. He doesn't really use a lot of wrestling, and these are the things you would probably need to do for somebody like Ruffy. You would need to attack that lead calf, and you would probably need to implement some grappling to, slow him down a little bit. But at the end of the day, I feel like this is just going to be a showcase fight for Ruffy here.
Yeah, I could even see something along the lines of like a McGregor Aldo sort of situation. Maybe not necessarily timing wise, but Bobby Green, I could see easily overextending with an overhand or something like that and just getting caught with like a pull cross.
You know what I kind of see? I see like Bobby Green doing that thing where he's like this and then he throws the cross, and Ruffy intercepting it, slips off the center line and throws his, and his lands. And then it's just like one of those things where like they both throw and then you just see Green fall over. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's going to be like one of those moments, and it's going to be super viral, super amazing. But that's breaking news, everybody. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Which one of these fights are you excited for? And thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Peace.